I get lost in Jingletown. I get lost in the dark construction zones between tracks and freeway, where fruit orchards, apricot and cherry, once came down toward the bay, toward the port, and light rail carried commuters from the shallow valley, Fruitvale, past the factories of Jingletown, past the first junk food shame, Granny Goose and Mother's, packed in cellophane to the office buildings and bustling shops downtown. They say there's a brewery there, which doubles as a literary salon. It cozies up to an old Mexican restaurant and the parking lot of a bar where pistols were exchanged decades ago for cash or blood. According to the story I hear from a friend I bring along as witness. He tells me these and other tales of his turn in the neighborhood decades ago as we make a final disappointing pass at finding the place. Speaking of gossip, when I search off-street for Jingletown, the wiki tells boosterish tales of an artsy pocket of activity there, a building boom, and hints at the history of an Anglo squatter on the old Spanish land grant. Land stolen even back then by eviction and incarceration, enslavement and renaming. What were wetlands full of shellfish and seabirds nesting there, waiting out the millennia for their young to be plucked from among the reeds by the first coastal people? I am searching for a reading in a brewery. I'll drink to that if I can locate it. I never find it that night, but return during daylight to find the jagged outline of the building. Still, I fail to identify a way into the entrance unless I clamber over new-hewn boards and rebar and defy the no-entry signs, enormous trucks, steel beams left lying about the blasted earth, ready to rust. Once I've calmed my irritation at the organizers and myself, their failure to make sure we can locate, much less enter, what they advertised as a more inclusive and welcoming space, and my failure to overcome every physical, spiritual, and logistical obstacle, once I have faced my own petulance, I am inspired to make a tour in the daylight of all the addresses of readings I plan to attend in the next few weeks, in shabby storefronts, in grimy streets, in dingy cul-de-sacs, each place a corroded portion, a space that used to be a real locale, way more lively than it is today. Downtown, it's a hole-in-the-wall bookstore a block away from what was Holmes, those 3 stories of dust and precious used books. For 100 years, high stacks of once glossy but later faded magazines, the mezzanine alone a treasure house of poems, dry history, forgotten novels with their long, unviewed but dog-eared pages. That chapter closed 20 years ago. I remember the day. Later, I find a fire-blackened, thin-walled dive on 7th Street. What's now a hip cafe erupts uneasily from the vestige of a time when jazz and blues livened the wartime streets, peopled by those dark margins the patriotic South sent west to work in the shipyards. Now it's all coming back to its own sundown as whining drones disrespect the drums, the church song, and the new day, it turns out, is more of the same. But what do I know? I'll be there, trying to listen, with the West Oakland ghosts and their panthers sitting behind me in the back, clamoring, claiming the broad boulevard, dominated now by the tracks flowing by above, taking people across the bay, bringing them home. Recovery room. I wake feeling wounded. Someone's hands check my body. This thigh is intact. Shoulders, belly. One knee dangles in pain when it moves, but it's always done that. My wrist seems swollen, but maybe not. Lips a bit roughened as from pressure against someone's stubbled cheek. I've bitten my tongue. Slowly, I remember. It comes back to me. The accident. I fell hard, tripping against your ancient history with its stony passages. We tried to leap some chasm that lay between body and time, but without the use of our hands to catch our fall, what could we expect? And also, I remember to my surprise, when I awakened, you weren't there. The room was cold. The walls, that nauseating tone, your voice, distant. Bruised and speechless, I'm released to my own care. Go home, stare into that space I don't understand, but of course I do. My ribs ache where they were pummeled almost back to dust. Between my legs is a memory that continues to buzz and rumble, hungrily, happily. The rubble whispers into my torn ear. I'm almost well enough to leave my bed.
Yeah.
Little baby, go to sleep, little baby. She's all done with her red shoes on. Don't need no other love, baby. You're a sweet little baby. You're a sweet little baby. You and me and the devil makes three. Don't need no other nothing, baby. Introducing. I am from segregated South and gentrified North. I am from double Dutchin and busted fire hydrants. I am from aging skyscrapers and block parties. I am from red clay. I am from curvy hips and lovely lips. I am from broke artists and Ivy League degrees. I am from Friday night roller skating, bumping Aaliyah and TLC. I am from proper dinners with too much silverware. I am from Nigerian ancestors and magic. I am from proud blacks, passing blacks, and family secrets. I am from distant fathers and ghosts of countries once called home. I am from sweltering Sunday, school, and sultry blues. I live in Oakland, USA. Resident social justice advocate, like there's only a few. I live in the B-side, the Bay's better half. Fall land, fairyland, relic with shine. I live where the children grow up too fast on International, your weekend protest. I live in the redwoods with outstretched branches catching my fall and my tears. I live in mason jar hell. Do you really need to jam non-jam things in that? We do have plates. I live in community, a sea of colorful faces, gender fluidity. Oakland is everything, but Oakland is everything. I live in fear that I'll get priced out of my tiny home. I live on the corner of New Oakland meets Old Oakland. I live in hipster Hades, broken sidewalks next to freshly painted bike lanes. I live where the present and the past meet on Telegraph. I live where swollen lemons tumble to soft grass. I live at Fruitville Station, graves juxtaposed by shiny murals. I live in a city in flux. I live in Oakland with its keep and its realness, and I live in New Oakland with its transparent lies. I live in Paradise Lost. I live in hashtag activism. We live in steady conflict with the new and the old. She's an elusive city, but she's got spirit. She will organize. I live in Oakland. I live home. Be with you, boy, like being low. Ay, 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 it's like being stoned. I'll be with you, boy, like being low. Hey, 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 it's like being stoned. Low, so low, low. She was so low, and so low, and so low. Existing underneath Egyptian cotton sheets and candy bar wrappers, Tuned into Netflix and tuned out to reality, passed on replay, playing out different scenarios. Like those Choose Your Own Adventure books, if she'd only gone left, would her life be right? Living in the world in between daydreams and nightmares, checked out with no return. They told her time would heal, but when time and infinity are twins, what comfort can that bring a broken heart? Excruciating numbness watches over her. Hey, baby. The psychic in the sauna interrupts her mind tapes of failure on repeat. The older black woman, who smells of lavender, honey, and home, gives her a curious gaze, one that demands attention. All efforts to block out human connectedness through the mystical powers of her headphones, playing no music, cease. Listen, baby, there was nothing you could have done. He loves you, but not himself. Ain't nothing you can do about that. Jolted from her dream state, their eyes connect. The woman winks and says, we're just spiritual beings having a human experience. Wake up. Sparks ignite and she flashes back and tiptoes across broken bottles and shattered images of their future. Tiny shards of pointed memories poke at her most vulnerable pink skin. She recalls the drowning boy in the ocean. He swears she left him, but he left her first. Marching into the gold abyss, to death do them start. His ocean pools held her gaze, then grabbed her arms to pull her in. Claw marks fresh and red upon her skin. She couldn't wait for his resurrection, or she'd drown. Now her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes, the flame but a flicker. Charred, burned pictures of old loved ones burst into dust. The past lovers call out from burning Polaroids. You're incapable of love. But the woman's deep, throaty laugh warms her, shakes her, leads her. Maybe she'll awaken if she burns, you know, Phoenix style. What will the new narrative be? She lights a match and she lets go.